We're so super special.
Welcome. Yeah, welcome Goldies and above to our 5 Levels of Leadership weekly class. We are in Goldies, right, Wendy?
Yep, we are.
We're going over this book. And the 4 of us were just bragging about all the things we've done this morning. So, so Wendy, you've been fascia blasting.
I fascia blasted.
Lori, what'd you do?
I showered and I made breakfast.
I worked out, and Eva tops us all because
I was breastfeeding. I learned a lot of calories that way.
yes,
Hands down, girlfriend.
There you go. Yeah.
I feel super privileged that you guys asked me to be on here, by the way.
Oh, we're just glad you're on here. So, so Brenda is just busy, has guests and is working her business. And she said this just really isn't working all that well into her Monday schedule. And so we definitely wanted a 4th voice, and Eva is just perfect for that. So thank you for being on, Eva.
Thank you.
Eva has a super smart and unique in a really good way brain. And so y'all are going to be blessed by her. Would you agree, Eva?
I don't know. We'll
But
see.
the unique, I would.
I think she offers some amazing balance.
Yeah.
And some strengths that we need here. So it's awesome.
So I guess everybody would know you, Eva, but you want to just say a quick word about who you are and
Sure.
How awesome you are.
Well, okay. So I joined with Kristen. I'm Kristen's level 1. It's just 4 years ago, and I totally forgot to make a post about that. Like I was going to post 4 years anniversary. Anyway, yeah, 4 years ago, never regretted it. My husband is a pilot, and he got to stay. I got retired from this whole business, and we are super excited that we get to share that with so many people and help you guys achieve whatever your goals are.
love that. Yeah. So when Eva joined, she says, "Whoa, Kristen is gold." You thought I was a big deal because I was gold, right?
Yeah.
So all you people watching, y'all have a rank above that. And so your team members coming on are thinking you're a big deal because you are, right? We talked about that last week. So y'all ready to get going in, or do we want to have any announcements? I guess some announcements to know are that right after this, I'm going to go live in Biz, talk about the month calendar, because this is the first Monday in October. It's October 2nd. So we have a new calendar of things for you to plug into and make sure you're locking, this level 3 leadership of locking arms with people and doing production. So that's going to be available to you. And I'm doing that live right after this. So, and then do we want to say anything about Las Vegas? Because that's just so terrible.
Yeah, that's very sad. Definitely thinking and praying about those that have been affected by this. I know that I have a pretty expansive team in Las Vegas myself, and just thinking about you guys all and praying for you. And, times definitely are getting tougher and harder, and it's a time where we really need to be reflecting on where our hearts are and how connected we are for our eternity. So
yes,
what I'm going to say about that.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking, Jason Aldean, who was singing when that happened, used to live on the same street as me. When I first moved to where I am now, he was actually just right around the corner from me. And then also I was thinking, man, if I were in Vegas right now, I would have been at that concert.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would have been like, oh, like if convention was this week, or if I was at a convention, I'd be like, oh, I like half of those singers. I'm going to go to that concert. So anyways, that's what I was, but Wendy's right. Just if it can be used for God's glory, it's to remind people that all of us are going to go one day. And there is an answer for you that all 4 of us are 100% sure about. Okay, so let's move on to 154. We're at the bottom, which is begin to develop your people into a team. When you get to level 2 with people in your organization, they begin to like being together, right? If you are a good leader at level 2, your team likes each other and you like your sidelines and there's a community feel. But when you get to level 3, they actually begin to work together. So I often get asked questions, well, how do I start a chat? Why would I start a chat? And there's one reason there's 2 reasons why you start a chat. One is for community and 2 is for action. There has to be some reason that you're starting a chat. Oh, is this a newbie training one where I'm going to tell you things and ask you questions? Is this a, hey, we're all doing an event together? Is this, hey, we're doing a 7-day challenge together? Is this, hey, all of you guys, this is your first time at Leaders Retreat. I'm going to do a chat. Hey, this is your first time at convention. This is my level 1s and 2s chat. I want to connect with you. And then maybe we're going to do a live stream. Like your reason is community, but your other reason is action, because chats will fall flat if you don't have some sort of purpose in them. And my doorbell just rang, so somebody take over for me.
I can, since Lori's eating. That was kind of funny. It's a really good question, or the topic that Kristen brought up, because I was asking her about a chat just very recently, and she made me think very much about what is the purpose of the chat, and then where is the chat going? Like, there has to be action for the chat to go somewhere. So like she said, Leaders Retreat. Who's going to Maui next year? Like, who can you absolutely count on for sure going to Maui? And then put them in a chat and make sure that that goal for that entire, whatever, how many months are left, are moving forward in that direction, because you want to take people along. This is a production chat. This isn't just a, don't make chats just training though either. You got to be community and then production moving forward. Because I see a lot of chats that are just all about train, and they're dead. They're dead because all the leaders do is training in them. So
yeah, and don't be afraid to change up chats. I do it all the time. I'll change the name, change it to you guys have accomplished 75% of you have accomplished this thing. The rest of you maybe weren't committed. We're going to the next level. So I change the name of the chat. I change the whole feel. I change it up. I don't like dead chats, so I'll change it.
Yeah, you may have said this already, but we'll often close them and then start new ones. Not even just change names, also even just close them. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
The key thing is, though, have some sort of action orientation behind it, because that's level 3 leadership, and that's what's going to get you to the next rank. Community and action. And as you're doing an action, that's how you train people. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the laws are down here. Team members should complement each other. Team leaders should make that happen. The job of a leader is to build a complementary team where every strength is made effective and each weakness is made irrelevant. Did I say that right? Irrelevant.
Yeah.
What are some ways y'all do that?
So I'm not sure if it goes with production, if it's level 3, or if I'm naturally moving into a level 4. But I actually want my leaders to operate in their strengths. So I have a gal on my team who's very good about breathing belief. She's actually very gifted in it. And I wanted her to create a 10-day mindset training and help people see how to operate in their strengths, in their positive mindset, in their affirmations, in, kind of like dumping the trash and working in with their gifts and talents. So I try to find people where they're really strong in and then move them in that direction, because they'll take a community of people with them.
Good.
I don't know if that's what you were thinking about.
I'm just brainstorming here. How do you guys in a practical way make weaknesses irrelevant?
I think one of the ways is being open a little bit about your own weaknesses and your own strengths, because sometimes I think people are afraid to operate in their strengths because they kind of look at everybody else as the ones as having the strengths. So when you point out what those people's strengths are, and then you ask them to do something and you let them know that that's not your thing, but you have seen that they have talent in that area. That's one of the ways to help them feel confident in their strengths and not too self-reflective in their weaknesses.
Eva, do you have any thoughts on that?
And that session that we had in Maui, I don't know if you guys talked about this in the last session. No, this is our first thing since Maui. Oh my goodness, I'm so far behind. And we had this really cool personality test thingy, and we all had to stand in different corners. And I remember that the green corner was emptier than the rest of the corners. I don't know if your sessions were the same as ours, but I was surprised to hear from Greens that they like us to ask them to do things. Like all of them agreed on that. And I was just thinking that I don't do that enough. Like sometimes I'll expect them all to be more like me or more like somebody who's a top leader or whatever, instead of asking them to do what they really love to do. And they feel appreciated asking, if we ask them to do. And it was just a really good refresher to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're talking about the people who are fact and information heavy. They like to be asked like, hey, could you make a calendar for us this month? Hey, are you good at graphic? Do you like this? Would you want to? Can you, that sort of stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. I'm just thinking about, I don't know how I make weaknesses irrelevant, except the only way I know how, that the only one that came to mind was just that, like, we all have them, to recognize them and to be okay with them, to not let it even frustrate you that your team member isn't good at XYZ. It's just like, okay, like you okay, I'm okay with that, you okay with that, and then you just figure ways, because we're all gonna have those things. So when I think of making weaknesses irrelevant, outside of what we talked about last week, that there are common themes that you kind of have to just make a fool of yourself and do it anyways to be successful in Plexus. There are certain things that it's just, if you just recognize that you're weak in it and sometimes do it anyways, then it's just kind of okay. Like, really, I mean, just be okay with it. That's kind of how I make them irrelevant. And also just recognizing your team's limits, sometimes even for personal growth, and being okay with it. And then you're not frustrated and you just kind of know where people are, So you want to move on from that topic, or are we good?
I think we're good.
Okay. Okay, I'm on 156 now. Applicable laws of teamwork. He has like 5 listed there. You should probably review that. It's about working together and winning, basically. It's kind of an investing in depth and all that. Okay, but below that it says team members should understand their mission and team leaders should make that happen. So this is kind of that, like, you can never over communicate section. I think it was Charlotte Seams that was like, Kristen or somebody really needs to go at the beginning of October. We can't just throw a calendar up and expect people to know. We kind of need to go in and explain, understand what the mission is, so that's part of the reason why I'm doing this after that. That's an example of this. That shouldn't stop with me though. You as a gold, senior gold ruby, senior ruby, emerald, sapphire leader, you should be going, hey, I watched Kristen's video. Look at, this is what's coming up. Look at, this is what's coming. This is what we're doing as a team. I'm plugging in here. This is how you can, it doesn't just, you're not just feeding them to me and me. You're then taking that and going, yeah, did you see it? And you're talking about it and you're passing the word on, because you really can't over communicate the mission. And only 5% of your people are going to watch me anyways, but they will listen to you.
Yeah, that's why, I think some of you guys, not everybody, but we have a leaders chat, and I put in the leaders chat yesterday what we have to be looking forward to for the week. We have a Goldie's training today. We have a power hour tomorrow in the biz page. We have Wellness Wednesday on Wednesday. We have new ambassador orientation on Thursday. That's an overview of what our week is going to entail. And I need to pass that down to our leaders. And then I watched my leaders pass it on down to their teams. So that is kind of how what Kristen's talking about is it gets duplicated down because they're going to listen to you probably far more than they're going to listen to me or her or Eva or Laura.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and build it up. You know, we're going into our third month of a lot of new things that are going on in biz, and we're just getting into our momentum and into our groove and just keep building it up and plugging it in. And it's going to get better and better and more awesome. So take your team somewhere, show them the vision and cast it for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And sometimes you think, oh, I've said it over and over again. No. Okay, I don't know why this popped into my head, but I feel like it could relate to this. And this is probably the thing you're going to remember most. Okay. So, hey. Okay, let me shut this down. Okay, so we think if we say something one or two times, I know. We think if we say something one or two times, it's like, oh, if we say it three times, that's like overboard. Okay. Okay. So, y'all know how I've been studying nonverbal communication and like Vanessa Van Edwards and all that. Well, I watched this session she had on, it's totally like scientific and clean and classy, but it was this, 5 video session on like flirting and stuff. And so, which is funny, but I got bored once it got to like something else, but some of the things were really funny. And cause we're in attraction marketing. So some of the things coincide with what we do. Anyways, but she said when I was dating, cause she's married now, if I gave a signal 2 or 3 times, I thought I'm just going overboard, but it would take a guy 12 to 15 signals to ever pick up what's happening. So we think if we give something 2 or 3 times, that's enough. I do that more. I'm going overboard, but on the receiving end, it doesn't sink in. There's no movement until 12 to 15 direct signals are sent. Isn't that interesting? And I don't think that's unlike what we do since we're in a volunteer Army attraction marketing setting. We think if we say something 1 or 2 or 3 times, our whole audience understands, but they don't. It's a lot of repeated exposure and a lot of, so at the top of 157. Okay. So if you're flirting with your husband, you have to do it 10 times instead of 1. Because if you wait, he's going to think, oh, she had something in her eye.
I think it goes well with what you've been talking about recently about clarity.
Yeah.
Like you can't just vaguely say something.
Yeah. Or vaguely flirt.
Expect everyone to know what you're saying.
Some of these things work really well in my head and they're not always. So,
but it totally goes with where you're going with 157. And it says, as you lead people on level 3, don't take for granted that they know what you know and believe what you believe. Don't assume they understand, they know their talents and their efforts that are supposed to be contributive to the mission of the team. So it's like exactly what you said. And it was a perfect example because we can all relate to the miscommunication or the assumption that our husbands know what we're talking about.
Husbands, what?
Yeah. Huh?
Oh, I love that. Okay. So I was actually going to read what Wendy read. So I'm so glad that she read it. Another applicable laws of teamwork. Y'all should review those. And then at the bottom, team members should receive feedback about their performance. Team leaders should make that happen. So, I mean, that's just that positive verbal feedback, right? This is a little different because we are in a volunteer Army setting. And so you aren't someone's boss that needs to give them a monthly review on their rights and wrongs. This is kind of where that permission leadership comes in. And if someone's like, hey, do you see something I'm doing wrong? Then at that point, I'm probably going to talk about what I see them doing right. And then a few things I see they could improve on. What about you guys?
totally agree with that. You can never build up a person enough because, Kristen has said this in several of our Zooms, is that you can't over compliment somebody as far as making sure that what they're doing right is being noticed. The other thing is I like people to have self-assessments. Like, I'm not going to tell you what I see that's not working, but I'm going to give you an overview and have you guys assess yourselves, and then you can learn from it, grow from it, and see where things can be corrected if you so choose. So.
Okay, Wendy, what do you use for self-assessment? Because that's not.
Okay, so Joni Wigman, she's a senior gold going on Ruby, gave me a really good example of this today, and she has been working on duplication. She has been working really hard on going from level 2 to level 3 leadership. And so what she showed me this morning is a comparison of her member summary, and she showed me the growth between June, July, August to September on where her level 2s, 3s, and 4s have grown in comparison to 2 to 3 years prior. So she's watching, like she's putting into practice what she's learning, and then she's watching it grow. So that was one example that I thought was really good. So she self-assessed herself.
That's pretty cool.
And
yeah, we are usually on the same wavelength, and that's exactly where I was this morning with like a self-assessment type of thing. So yeah, that's why I asked.
Yeah. Whenever I think of this, I mean, this is a little different what they're talking about in the book, because it's people giving feedback and they're seeing their successes, they're seeing where they're moving. Those are really important for people, kind of like how far they've come and where they're going. When I think of offering like assessments, I always think of Jesus. And whenever anyone asks him a question, if you ever read 90% of the time, I don't know if that's true, but what I think is 90% of the time, I'm saying the number, I don't know if 90 is right. He asked a question back because he's the ultimate psychologist, right? So he's going to know that it's going to be more powerful for them to self-reveal than it is for him to say, unless he's talking to a religious Pharisee. They don't tell him what he thinks. But for the average person, he would ask a question. I have that underlined all through Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Like, look, another question. Look, he asked another question. Look, he asked another question, and I just always see that that's how he relates to people. So that's one of the best ways you as a leader can self-reveal, to help people self-reveal, is by asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times I'll get asked, what do you think I should do? I say, well, what do you think you should do? I know that probably gets on people's nerves, but do you think I need this? I don't know. Do you think you need that?
Yeah, I just want you to write it down and then I'll do it.
Oh, yeah.
Think about what I need to do differently.
I know whenever we do like the 21 Laws of Leadership, whenever I've done that, I'll get like 10 people text me and say, where do you see I can improve? I'm like, I'm not answering. I don't think I've ever answered anybody. So I'm like, where do you think you need it? I'm not stepping on that one. So anyways, okay. Have I ever answered anyone?
Actually, come to think of it, I'm pretty sure I asked you and I never got a response back.
Sorry. Okay.
No, it's fine. Because believe me, I'll be my best critic. I don't need a Kristen. I can have myself.
Yeah. Okay. Team members work in an environment conducive to growth and inspiration. Team leaders should make that happen. Second paragraph, as you lead on level 3, you need to make it your goal to lift others and help them do their best. Founding Father Benjamin Franklin was a leader who understand this. And then I have that like circled at the bottom of 159. Which is what Wendy or Lori was saying, you can't overpraise.
Yeah, can I just read a little commentary about that? It says, criticizing and censoring almost everyone you have to do with will diminish friends, increase enemies, and thereby hurt your affairs. So sometimes, obviously, it's saying constructive criticism can be more harmful than good.
And that's where it comes when someone's like, what do you think I need to adjust? You know, okay, I'm going to tell on Lauren. Who did the newbie training last month? Laura Newman and Bridget Kroll, I think.
Yeah.
So they were like, it's their first time doing that. I mean, they were brave for doing that, right? In front of what, 17,000 people in our group, a brand new Emerald, a senior Ruby, and us Diamonds are like, you train all the newbies. And they're like, okay. And so they got off and immediately were like, give me your feedback. And I'm like, I think it's great. Like, I thought what they did was great. Was it exactly the way I would have done it? No. But what they did is going to bless a huge portion of our team. And that's why we need a lot of variety. So there's not always one way outside of what we talked about last week, which are the common themes of success, right? If you missed that, you need to go back to it. But it's just different. The fact that they focused more on one area than I would focus on, that's good because it means it's needed in some way. It's going to help someone. And so rather than like them giving me feedback and going, well, you missed this, you missed this, you have 25 minutes to do a comprehensive training. Duh, you're going to miss stuff. So I focused on what I thought was really good. And they were like, I know. I think it was Bridget. She's like, I know, but tell me something I could have done better. You know? And I'm like, what? Like, I'm like, well, listen. I mean, one thing, but in that one thing, there was a good flip to it too. So, you know, just try to focus. And then that, I don't even know where I'm going with that, except for, sure, I could have found things to criticize, but really there's not, you know, really they did it. They did a good job. It helped people. It's going to help people move forward. I don't know what I'm saying with that, but
it's just like raising kids. They're going to
yeah.
work and better if you're telling them the things that they're doing right, even though there's things they're not doing like you would. Same.
Yeah.
And I watched that actually, and I thought that they did a fabulous job of painting the vision and wanting people to want more and being very relatable. They were really relatable, and that is very entertaining. Like I just wanted to watch it for a little bit. I ended up watching the whole thing.
I did too.
Yeah, it was
I
good.
don't usually watch whole things.
Yeah. So I really liked it, and I think that it would pique the interest and make somebody feel like they could do this, which is definitely what we wanted.
Yeah. And we didn't give them any instructions.
Yeah. And I can think of a few instances though, like as you guys are talking, when I have given constructive criticism, and like I have a situation right now where I have to give constructive criticism to somebody, because like I think of Fallon, you know, when I needed to tell her, that was the time. So there are some times when you do have to give constructive criticism because it will change everything for the person. And then right now, you know, if you guys don't know Fallon's story, she was saying things to me, and she's done so many trainings on this, so I'm not telling anybody something they don't know. She would say things to me like, I don't care about my people. I need to make some money, you know, like stuff like that. And so I had to like tell her some hard, I had to tell her some hard truths, and she got very upset with me, but it ended up being the catalyst to changing everything for her. And that's what she'll say. Right now, I have a girl that has a very strong why. She has been signed up with me now for at least 6 months. She's working the business. She's not growing. I know exactly why. But it's going to hurt her for me to tell her this. And I'm at the point right now where I'm going to. And that's because I can see her continuing to work. And I have to suck it up and try to tell her as nicely as I can. So I think there are times, but you just have to choose them.
It's just a 1 to 10 rule typically.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, when do you pick? How do you know when is the right time or the right person? Is it their goals, like what they have? You can see them, you just said, you can see them continuing to work. So is that who you pick? You see what they're capable of doing.
I know that she's capable. I know that she has the influence, and I've tried to expose her to things that would be like a subtle telling her, and she's not being coachable in that. And
For
so,
me, it's when I know they can,
yeah, I know she
when they
can.
have the capacity for it.
Exactly, and I know she can. So yeah, same thing.
The other thing I really like to do when some sort of constructive criticism has to happen based on their action or inaction is to communicate that they need to adjust their goals unless X, Y, or Z will change. Because then it's not a personal, like, you're bad. It's like, okay, I know your goals are here, but to get there, you'd have to do X, Y, Z. If you're not willing to do X, Y, Z, we need to adjust your goals down.
Amazing.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
really-
it's like, it's my actions based on my business, not I have personal flaws. Which I mean, we all have personal flaws, but it's not like I'm personally have like major issues. It's just like, well, some people do, but we're talking business here. And so it's like, hey, unless you're willing to be consistent, I wouldn't say it necessarily like that, but to get here, you have to be consistent. So let's talk about, are you willing to be that consistent or not? Okay, if not, let's get you down here for your expectations. Versus you have a personal flaw because you're not plugging into the groups every day. It's like, they don't want to plug into the groups every day. They don't have to plug into the groups every day, but they're probably not going to progress at what they think they will necessarily, or what maybe what they want.
That's so good.
And it rolls into like our next subject, like super, super good when it says prioritize the things that are going to yield high return. So if you can see that this person is got that capability and that capacity that you guys are talking about, then you're going to invest in them and be willing to offer this level. But if you don't see that, don't waste your time.
Yeah.
Love them, but don't waste your time. Don't put your energy there because they're
Yeah,
already
I
showing
love
you.
number 4 here.
Yeah, me too.
I
My
want to
favorite.
back up one thing to the whole expectation thing. That's even on personal growth. So if somebody has negativity issues or leadership issues, it can still be said in a way that's about their expectations for their business. So, you can say something like, well, so what's your goal? Okay, your goal is to get to Ruby. Okay, well, to get there, to get to that role, you're going to have some influence, leadership, and some personal development skills. Here's what I would suggest. This book will help you. Are you kind of willing to grow in that area or not? And if they're showing you they're not, or if they're saying they're not, or communicating through inaction that they're not, then you can say something like, hey, that growth was needed to get to that level. Since that's not happening, let's lower your goal systems. And so does that make sense?
Yeah.
So whether it's consistency or this or personal growth or rants on Facebook, I mean, I can even say it, hey, I don't know that that's going to help your business grow. I can see your business not growing because of versus like you shouldn't do these actions, because you're their team leader, you're their business leader, not their like life coach, right? So even though we kind of are, but it helps a little. Okay, so prioritizing the things that yield high return. I love prioritizing the things that yield high return. Even down to people. Like, I love to match energies, whether in all areas. And so ministry just as much as business. I don't know, this is always good. I probably need to be tempered in this a little. But I mean, yeah, we got taught in this in Maui. Eliminating the things you shouldn't be doing, being present with what you are, prioritizing. It's that 80-20 rule. 80% of the time you're in your strength zone, 15% of the time you're in your learning zone, 5% of the time they work outside their strength zone, and 0% of the time they're working in their weakness zone. Right? I mean, that's super effective. And did you notice it said 15% of the time in a learning zone? If you're on these Zooms and you're enjoying learning, just recognize you're in a comfort zone of learning, which is great. That's one of the benefits of Plexus, but it's not advancing you in business unless you're spending 80% of the time working your plexus business in your strength zone. So if you like look at your week, oh wow, I might work 20 hours this week and 8 are in personal growth and books and book studies and learning. Just know that's not enough to advance your business. You're in a comfort zone of learning.
Mhm. So you're saying they need to apply what they're learning to get uncomfortable to grow. Is that what you're
I'm
saying?
saying
Is
if
that
they
like
want to grow, they need to spend 80% of the time working in their strength.
got it?
But if they just want to reap the benefits of being a Plexus ambassador plugged into our awesome team and learning, then just gauge your expectations on how far your business will grow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I really like the questions on the next page telling us what to prioritize, like what questions to ask yourself, what is priority to you.
So where's that?
I'm probably ahead, 162.
Oh, at the very top. What is required of me? Okay, let's give them examples in Plexus. Okay, so what is required of me in Plexus?
IPA.
Yeah, and to me, that's sharing the product and or the opportunity.
Yep. Follow up.
Yeah. Okay, what gives me the greatest return?
Those things.
To me, it's even more than that. To me, it's signing up influencers.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My greatest return are people that are interested in the business, have high emotional maturity, high work ethic, and want it.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I spend 80% of my time.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's the way I work. I'm not answering for anybody else. What about you guys? That's my strength zone.
Yeah. No, that's exactly right. Exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
And then what is most rewarding to me? What I love to do? Y'all, all three of y'all answer that because it's going to be different.
Okay, I love talking to new people.
That's your favorite love. All right, Eva, what about you?
I like seeing people get what they wanted. That's my.
Yeah, I'm kind of along the line with Eva. Like I think my most favorite thing to do is to coach, encourage, and inspire people to the next level. Like show them that possibility is there and that they can truly achieve it. Like I love, love, love seeing people rank up and succeed and feel successful.
Especially when they didn't think they could do it. And you're like, see, I knew you could do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, that's my second.
Lori's like, that's my too.
I do love that. I thought we were talking about IPA, but yeah.
And then I think the most rewarding to me is probably this kind of stuff.
The training.
Yeah, like matching energies of people that are wanting to grow and succeed. That's my favorite. And then like, this is probably just my strength. I love studying the Enneagram, and my name on the Enneagram is a challenger. And so like, I love kind of like challenging, you know, like stoking a fire a little bit.
Yeah.
Can y'all tell?
You're really good at that.
Like poking it, you know, like while I stand back a little.
You totally did that with me, Kristen. For sure.
You what now?
You totally did that with me. Like I never you knew what I could do, but way before I knew what I could do.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, you were one of those influencers. It's the reason why you were probably in the top 20 people I contacted, even though I didn't know you personally. Could see it. So, okay, so number 5. And this whole spending time on yields high return, I know we're going over today, but we just need to. to finish this out, this section. The things that yield high return are going to be this. Plug into the things that are already actionable and moving and do it with your team. That's going to be the things that yield the highest return. You know that your team needs to work. You don't work by yourself. Do power hours, bring your team in. You know that you're not trying to read Rock Your Network Marketing Business by yourself. Read it with your team. You know that you're not inviting to the Gut Health and Happiness event tomorrow night alone. As you're inviting people, do a chat with your team. Say, this is what I sent. What are y'all sending? Let's all sit down and do this for 20 minutes. Let's give feedback on the messages. Does that make sense? Like, that's going to be your stuff that yields the highest return, because you can't get there alone unless you're focused on just having high PV and making money on PV and customers, and you don't care about your rank. You can't do this by yourself. But if you want to rank up, that's taking people along with you.
Mhm. That was a huge thing that you just pointed out, because I see that. I see people working alone, trying to get to the next rank on their own. If I can just give an example, like my senior Ruby just went, or my senior gold just went Ruby, Sandra Aldrich, talk about bringing people along with her in this mission, making sure that every single person on her team knew where she was headed, where they were going together as a team, how they could be a part of it, what their role was, what their responsibility was, how it can happen, and like communicating every single day, several times a day, like, this is how we're doing it, this is where we're going, I'm so excited, oh my gosh, this person just got someone to order, awesome. Like, the biggest thing I've ever seen in the 3.5 years that I've done this, pulling the entire team along with her. Like, she didn't rank up on her own. It was a rank up with every single person on her team. And it was really, really cool.
I love that. Ruby's my favorite rank, because if someone can get to Ruby, I have, then they can get to Emerald.
Mm-hmm.
All it requires is helping 3 people go Ruby to go Emerald. Now you went Ruby. Okay. Now she needs to go help 3 people go Ruby. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So number 5, be willing and ready to be a change agent. I mean, this is momentum. This is change. Hey, we're all going to do this. It requires 5 components: vision, values, relationships, attitude, and communication. I mean, that's kind of what it takes to be a change agent. You might want to review those because they're pretty practical. Anything you want to say, or you want me to go ahead and move on to number 6? And then my favorite, never lose sight of the fact that results are your goal. So, I mean, we are in the people industry. Oh, Eva, you're muted.
I was just saying, I want to read that first part right under there. There's a big difference between level 3 leaders and critics who simply theorize about productivity.
Do you know what I do? I don't remember if I get that much anymore, but in my first part, when I first started Plexus, I got a lot of, well, from my downline, well, you should do this. Well, you should do, you do it. That's always my response to people who were like theorizing and criticizing somehow. I'm like, you try it, see if it works.
Yeah.
Not with a bad attitude, but like, I'm doing this. If you want to do something different, you do it, and I'll copy you if it's successful.
I've seen you do that a lot, Missy. It's true. I'll be the guinea pig a lot on situations because I'm not afraid to fail. I am not afraid to fail. If I fail, okay, I'll admit it. I'll pick myself up, dust myself off, and I'm like, that didn't work and sucked, and I'm moving on. Let's try this now.
Wendy, that totally goes with the number 5, being a change agent. Like, you have to be able to change. You can't just like expect every single day to be the same. You have to be able to. I like that picture where it goes, success is like fail, 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 success, not.
And I have to brag on Helen and Sonia on this, because they're kind of like our leaders in our Jewel upline, right? There's some gaps between us and them, but they're like our shining light leaders, right? And outside of their ethics and their love for people, and just their steadiness. The thing I love most about them is they adjust. Like, have you noticed they're always on top of new technology, and they change as sales or products or social media or needs? Like, they're always ducking and adjusting. And I don't think that's normal. I think that's really abnormal in a good way.
Yeah, I would agree. They've been an excellent example of that.
I mean, they started off on weight loss, right? They went diamond on the old accelerator. And there's not that many of those left because they refuse to adjust. And they're ones that go, okay, well, I don't necessarily understand all this gut health stuff, but I'm gonna, because I love Plexus and I want my business. And they did, when we started out, they were doing all these calls. You had to call in. They don't do that anymore. They do Zoom. They're really, really good examples of that. And they're older than a lot of us on this team. I mean, not that much, but just a little bit. And so don't think it's like just the 20s and the young 30s that know how to adjust with technology and change. That's not true. They can.
Can I just say something about our team for a second?
Yeah.
Okay, I think we have been, I'm sorry, I have to say this. I think we have been huge change agents in the culture of Plexus.
Oh,
Yeah, we started out not the norm, but we are definitely the leaders now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm sorry I had to say that.
No.
Yeah, this is an amazing team.
Yeah, because we've had so much good foundation success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're not always like number 1 or 2, but we in the top points.
Yeah, we're progressive. We're so progressive.
We're some of the highest paid.
and it's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be boring to be stagnant and not be.
And Eva's the first diamond in Canada.
Woo!
Yeah. So she is paving the way over there. So, okay. Number 6. Okay. We're talking about never losing sight of the fact that results are your goal.
Good leaders have an orientation towards results. That's a really good paragraph. I'm just going to read it.
Yeah.
They know that results always matter, regardless of how many obstacles they face, what the economy does, what kinds of problems their people experience, and so on. They fight for productivity and are held accountable no matter what. That's me right there. Like, just do it.
I remember years ago, probably 3.5 years ago, when something changed in Slim. And people were like, oh no, the sky is falling. And I was on one of Helen's calls and she said, listen, I don't care about XYZ ingredient. I'm a company girl. Like, I am a company girl and I'm going to have success in this company because the company's strong, right? We have a corporate team that's really strong and really committed and really good. She wasn't saying this just out of complete faith, right? She's saying this with a lot of reasons to back her up. She's like, I am a company girl and changes are going to happen. Lots of changes are going to happen, but I'm sticking with this and I'm going to have success no matter what changes or kind of bumps would go. So you just remember that when you're like, oh no, why did Plexus make this decision? Just remember you're a company girl. You got this. And
we have so
change
many.
will happen.
Yeah, like in Canada, we've had so many changes and people will stop for the smallest little thing. I'm like, that's not even an issue. Like, you're not even focusing on the goal.
Yeah. And just for all of us, America or Canada or Australia, more changes will happen. I mean, I'm not saying I know what they are. I'm just saying more ones will. So just expect it. Just the results are your goal, right? Keep your why in front of you. Yeah, go ahead, Lori.
Well, I was just going to say, I know what some of them are. Extremely good. Super excited. And everything that you guys are doing, having to do things afraid, having to rise to the occasion. I knew that this was good. We all knew that Plexus was good. It is only going to get better and better and better. And so I think all of us here, we're always in the situation where we're like, pinch me, pinch me, pinch me. It's only going to be better. And it doesn't even need to be. So everything you're doing is worth it.
And
Yes.
On the next page, it says Henry Ford has a suggestion: make your future plans so long and so hard. Like that speaks a lot.
I just keep seeing the word momentum in this section too. And momentum fixes a lot of things. Success fixes a lot of things to where you don't even feel the bumps as hard. The other thing to notice, Eva and I were talking with one of her team members this weekend, and the other thing to notice, she said, well, I'm in momentum. And I said, well, then that means now's the time to take things out of balance and into plexus, because if you work within momentum, it yields 10 times what it does when you're working out of momentum. So if you are one of those in momentum right now, recognize that what you put into it yields higher than it normally does. Right? Does that make sense? Because you just have that working for you. If you're working out of momentum yet, you need to focus on the point number 5 on how to be a change agent. So when you're working in momentum, capture it. And because your results are going to be exponential. If you're not in momentum and you're working towards momentum, figure out how to be a change agent. That's where your focuses are a little different. So, make sense? Okay, next week we start on the laws of leadership at the production level, and that's starting to end level 3. We're still going to get to guide to growing through 3, but we're starting to see level 4 ahead of us. But really, if I can repeat this again, level 3 is where you rank up, at least to Emerald. And then to progress past that, then that's level 4. But most of you watching here want to go Emerald. And so really concentrating on level 3 and all the laws and aspects and growing through it is where you rank and see traction.
Perfect. All righty. So we'll see you guys all next Monday at 10 o'clock Central Standard Time. And don't forget all the things that we talked about that are happening this week. Promote, 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 because they're going to hear it better from you than from us.
Eva, do you want to give homework?
I don't know. I was just thinking of my homework. What am I going to do? I was just thinking about what I'm going to do.
Okay, tell us what you're going to do and then we'll do that. No, I'm just kidding. I have some ideas too. What are you going to do?
I'm going to focus really. Well, I'm always going to sign up. I'm looking for more people. I'm looking for more Kristens and Lori's and Wendy's. And I've got a couple of them ready to sign up. So that's what I'm working on and getting them to like gold super fast. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to be like, you want to get to gold because there's a training just for goldies.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So I think Eva's homework is sign up influencers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have some people I'm going to close this week. I have some newbie calls I'm going to do and plug them into what we have going on in biz. I'm looking forward to that 10-day training and connecting with them. Mm-hmm. In that, I have some people that I'm going to reach out to and connect over everything that we have going on in our groups this week. And that is what I'm going to do.
Awesome.
And some coaching calls.
Okay. My homework is to watch my biz videos coming up in like 5-10 minutes. That and watch Lori and I tomorrow night on Gut Health because we're talking about our regime. No, just kidding.
Yeah,
our regimen.
Our regimen, not our regime. Whoops.
There was a spelling error on the first graph.
Yeah.
I also have a bunch of 3-way chats waiting for me that I need to do with newbies, bunch of newbies, and getting them to that orientation. I cannot wait to watch that.
Yep. Super good.
Right. Wendy, you want to close this out?
That's it, you guys. Yeah, I'm going to do all those things. I love all those things. One of my biggest things that I'm doing this week is I'm going to be getting together with my jewels and we're going to plan out the rest of the end of the year. So this will be like our quarterly meeting and we're going to finish out how we're going to finish 2017 stronger than ever. So All right, you guys have a great night or day. Be productive, and we'll see you later. Bye, guys.
Bye.